Can we say that Manchester United and Sir Jim Ratcliffe outsmarted Newcastle United? He pulled a right one there with Newcastle on the last minute there with PSR, it seems. All the details have come out now as it has officially been announced by Newcastle and Manchester United on how Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos managed to get this deal over the line on July 1st, the opening of the transfer window, how this actually happened, all the details and what's involved in that, along with all of the other updates from Manchester United today regarding all of the transfer news. Another update on Matthijs de Ligt as well. This is Forever United TV. I'm Adam. This is your evening update in between the European Championships. We usually do a live show. We've done 2 today already, so I'm just going to do a bit of an update video for everybody just to fill in you all on the details of what's happened today, especially with Dan Ashworth and Sir Jim Ratcliffe and what's gone down there. Very, very interesting. Well, first of all, as you can see up on your screen, it has officially been announced now that Dan Ashworth is Manchester United's new sporting director. An official statement from Manchester United and Newcastle reads, Newcastle and Manchester United have reached an agreement for the immediate release of Dan Ashworth for his contractual obligations at Newcastle United. The terms of this agreement remain confidential between the clubs. Newcastle United thank Dan for his service and wishes him well for the future. That is official statement from both Manchester United and Newcastle United. So what actually went down? There were some rumours about how much was actually exchanged, how United got this deal done. Apparently it was all for PSR, for Newcastle's side of things, not Manchester United's side of things. Because when you read into a few more stories on this and what's actually happened with it, you have to just read through the one from Matt Hughes from The Sun, whose tweet and his update on the situation was, Newcastle accepted an offer of significantly less than the 10 million from Manchester United for Dan Ashworth on the 11th hour talks before last night's PSR deadline. So it does look like Manchester United just took advantage of the situation at Newcastle again. We've talked about this many a times before on transfers and how teams are able to actually get deals over the line and get that transfer through, playing on the disadvantage of someone else's situation. We thought that might be what was happening with Jarrad Branthwaite and Everton, although they've managed to get through their PSR period. But Newcastle, unbeknown to a lot of United fans, I think Newcastle fans were cottoning on to this, that there was an issue there, but we worked out and we were trying to work out actually through this whole sort of pre-season so far whether or not the actual revenues and let's just say contracts of staff, directors of football, whether all of the finances worked into PSR and financial fair play. Well, clearly they do, because Newcastle needed a deal done so they could meet their requirements for PSR and accepted a cut down price, less than 10 million. Let's not forget, Newcastle wanted 20 million for Dan Ashworth. They wanted that in compensation because he still had 2 years left on his contract. And they've kept it quiet. They've tried to do what they can. Obviously, Dan Ashworth was willing to take it to arbitration, and Ineos were willing to pay the fees and the court fees for that for him to get this deal over the line. But Newcastle, it would seem, have buckled, and United have won out in this one. Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and Sir Jim Ratcliffe proving himself a bit of a shrewd operator. We're now seeing Jim Ratcliffe's teeth in how he deals with things and getting this deal done. Only he would know, and they would know the research looking into Newcastle and what their situation was. Let's just wait it out. Let's just see what comes of this and see if Newcastle buckle. If not, we'll just carry on as normal, and they're the ones that will end up losing out. Let's not forget, Newcastle have needed to get another director of football in, and obviously now they can do. Now they've passed their PSR restrictions time and deadline with the Premier League. So really interesting situation now for Newcastle. They can move forward, and even more interesting for Manchester United as we can move forward and actually start getting on with transfers now that Dan Ashworth's through the door. Let's see how good Dan Ashworth is at his job, shall we? On that and the other transfer speculation as to what is going on at Manchester United right now, you've got to look at the Matthijs de Ligt situation, and that, flicking across, is the big news right now with Manchester United. And Florian Plettenberg has come out with details regarding what Bayern Munich actually want out of this deal for Matthijs de Ligt. You've got to look at it and go, how much is too much again with Matthijs de Ligt? Now, they want 50 million euros with add-ons, Bayern Munich. That's been made very clear. His agent is trying to He's trying to broker a deal between both clubs and make it work out. And everything is going into overtime right now on this, trying to make this deal happen very, very quickly. Because with buying Elise and wanting to buy another centre-back in, Bayern Munich are looking to meet their financial fair play guidelines and get through deals so they can be prepared and go into the season full throttle. So Manchester United right now are just probably in a testing the water situation. But the reports earlier on today, and like Florian Plettenberg says there, Manchester United are not looking to spend more than 30-40 million euros. So we're at, let's just say, a 10 million gap, and then there's add-ons on top of that. Manchester United's in pounds, and breaking that down, you're probably looking, around about 35 million they're looking to spend. And that's the question we asked the other day. Is 35 million good enough? Is it too much? Is it too less? Is that a good deal for Manchester United, for Matthijs de Ligt? But it now looks like a very, very strong possibility of being our first signing. But that's the update on Matthijs de Ligt and everything that's going on there with Manchester United. In terms of other news as well, we're now hearing that Manchester United will this week announce René Hack and Ruud van Nistelrooy as the coaching staff, alongside Erik ten Hag and the announcement of his new deal as well. That's all moving forward and looking like it's getting very close to completion. 3 more contracts in position. Manchester United's all staffing situation completely sorted and done. And then the other transfer news is more in the outgoings. We've been waiting for Mason Greenwood and Jadon Sancho news. Obviously, we touched on Fulham actually being in for Scott McTominay earlier on today as well. But it now looks like the news coming out of Manchester United in terms of player outings, the main one from this afternoon is, obviously we knew about Victor Lindelof, him and Aaron Wan-Bissaka looking like they're heading out of the door. Well, Manchester United definitely open to offers for Harry Maguire. Now, Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof leaving, would that leave room for Manchester United, like we discussed earlier on today, for the possibility of another player coming into the football club, another defender? We talked about Todibo. If Sir Jim Ratcliffe is clever enough to get around this Dan Ashworth situation, you've got to say, look, maybe he has got a chance of dealing with this Todibo and UEFA situation. And if he's willing to actually take Todibo, not playing for a while, well, they get their court case with CAS, Court for Arbitration and Sports. It does take a while to get these cases through into the actual court at CAS, but also he can still play in the Premier League if you look through the loopholes of that deal. It's a complicated one, and you've just got to look at it and go, with Sir Jim Ratcliffe the way he is and how he's handled this situation, surely he can make something happen with the Todibo situation as well. And that means that we can actually sell both Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof. Very interesting at the moment with what's going on. Bendito Mantato, the young academy player as well, he is ready to sign his first pre-pro contract. Romano has broke that news earlier on as well. That deal is looking very close. United trying to solidify a few deals and get a lot of deals in place, and making sure that they've secured the services of some quality young players coming through as well. All very good signs. This has been a very, very good day for Manchester United. It's been an excellent day with the announcement that we managed to get a good deal for Dan Ashworth and Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Not pulling the wool over Newcastle's eyes, but basically I think he was the one that won the battle between the two Richards there. You've got to say that for definite, because he's not paid what Newcastle wanted. He's got a cut price deal, and Dan Ashworth is actually in the door right now. Manchester United, will we be able to negotiate that on players? I think the first test is going to come with Bayern Munich. First big player at the table, negotiating with them for Matthijs de Ligt. They want 50 million euros. I don't think United are going to go near that. But it does bode well knowing that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is willing to go all the way and make sure that United get the best deal. So, yeah, interesting times ahead. He's got the right people in place to back him up now. And Ten Hag must be sat there rubbing his hands together. You've got to say, he's got to be sat there going, I like the sounds of this. We've got a structure in place which is fully backing me right now, and I'm loving it. And yeah, we've got loads more to come, I feel. I think this week is going to be a big, big week for Manchester United. And the actual news about Manchester United looking after younger players, making sure that they've secured the signatures of quality talent like that. Interesting to see over the next few days if we hear something regarding Willie Cambuala as well, though, because that one just needs to get rectified with him being out of contract. And I'm sure we'll hear about the Tom Heaton and Johnny Evans ones as well. But guys, yeah, that is your update for this afternoon. I was going to do a live show, but with that much football going on in the European Championships, just wanted to put a quick update out there. And again, thank you guys so much for getting involved, subscribing, giving me all the likes through the day. We've done 2 live streams earlier on today. Thank you for being part of that. Get your comments in below on the updates. Getting this deal done for Dan Ashworth. How impressed with you? How impressed are you with Sir Jim Ratcliffe and how he's waited it out and knew what was happening and where the lay of the land was with Dan Ashworth and Newcastle, and then getting this deal done now? Are you impressed? Does that change your mind somewhat? Get your comments in below and let me know. I'm Adam, this is Forever United TV. Like, share and subscribe. Have a great evening, people.